Hi everyone, promised you a quick update. Wednesday, November 9th, 2022, myself and several other parents went to peacefully advocate for shared parenting and raising awareness to parental alienation. I posted online ahead of time. I want to show you the signs that we had. We had more. So you see juries in family courts now. I think it's hard to argue with this one. Parental alienation harms children forever. I think equally makes sense. This is the one that I held. Fire Janet McFarland from Staten Island Family Court with the QR code that leads to the group website, group site on Facebook, and several more handmade signs revolving around parental alienation and the need of children to have both parents. We had both female and male representation, as it should be. It's not a sex-based issue, it's a tyranny issue. The state doesn't care whom to crush. They are after our children. There are countless stories of short-sighted mothers blinded by hate who collaborate with the state, push the father out, and when the child starts struggling, the state swoops in, takes the child, making him or her disappear into the foster system. It's not about sex. It's not about gender. Obviously, the most critical point in any such event is how the police will conduct itself. And in our case, as expected, the judges or the church where the event was held called the police. They arrived there a few minutes after, and I have to say they behaved in an impeccably professional manner. In fact, we didn't even exchange a word. They passed right by. They glanced at the signs and didn't ask for any explanation. Hey, First Amendment. That was something that one of the officers said himself. They stood unobtrusively in the area between us and the entrance to the house of worship. They didn't ask for any names, for any IDs. It was absolutely peaceful and professional for the duration of the event. Only one judge or attorney cursed at us, words that I will not repeat here. The rest tried very hard to seem that they don't see us, but we were right in front of the entrance. It was impossible to ignore us, which should be the case always. We should be impossible to ignore. I have to emphasize 2 points here. One is fear. The question is, was it stressful? Was it frightening to go there? Of course it was. But the whole point is to overcome your fear. To go there not knowing if you'll come home, obviously that's not an easy thing to do, but there's no other choice. I have an active court case. Majority of those who joined also do. You are always concerned about retaliation, what the police will do, what the audience will do. But the voiceless children who love both parents, they deserve it. They deserve us being there. We have no other choice. Don't be afraid is the most recurring expression in the scripture. It's the most recurring expression in the Torah, and the observant Jews ask God to grant them courage in every prayer, 3 times a day. God wants us to be courageous. We are dealing with tyrants. It's not me, and it's not those who joined me. It's the hundreds and thousands of those who come together on my page, on different pages, different groups on Facebook and in real life, in online meetings. We know exactly what's going on. The stories of Jeff Younger from Texas, the story of Ted Bush from Illinois, who died without seeing his children normally, it's everywhere. It's an ideological, tyrannical takeover executed through family courts, and we have the absolute right to peacefully convey our absolute disagreeing, for me it's disgust, with these policies executed from the bench by ideologues masquerading as judges. And here's the second point. Judges are part of the government. And as some legal scholars argued, most recently the US Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, it's the most dangerous branch. It is the most dangerous branch, the judiciary. Standing there, I could not but marvel at the wisdom of the framers and the Constitution. First Amendment is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. You got to be there, you got to feel it. The tyranny tries to memory hole it and ridicule it, like they did with our jury trials that are guaranteed by the 6th and 7th Amendment, but it's a fundamental text. It still resonates with millions of Americans and people worldwide. The fact that NYPD officers and us share the same idea is what enabled this event to be so peaceful. And this is the template we should use. We need to show to as many fellow Americans, those who are in the wheels of this tyrannical machine and those who are just waiting for their turn without knowing it, that this is what it is. This is tyranny. We are facing tyranny. Once enough people understand it, the tyranny will fall. To paraphrase Orwell, all tyrannies rule through fraud and force, but once the fraud is exposed, they must rely exclusively on force. Our job is to expose the fraud, is to expose the deception. Tyranny doesn't discriminate, and it doesn't stop. There are just too many of us, so they devour us segment by segment. They start with the weakest, the families in distress, the elderly. So many stories that I hear on my page of guardianship abuse. It has the same signs of what is going on in family court with children. The system takes the most vulnerable human beings and destroys them for money. I dare to say it's not even about the kids. It's about us. It doesn't end well for anyone. It ends in camps, quarantine camps, whatever you call them. The quasi-legal foundation is already being laid out in New York, in Florida, everywhere. You can see it. I was born in the Soviet tyrannical empire. I'll keep emphasizing that. I know how it looks. My family got decimated by the Germany tyrannical empire. Can we be so naive to expect that it will not recur here? It's already occurring. It's our job to speak out. By speaking out, we are breaking the narrative. We are breaking the government narrative. By standing up there in front of these judges and attorneys, we show that we are not numbers or cases. We are real humans. They are real children who are being hurt and crushed and destroyed. We are breaking the narrative of intimidation and compliance. Now, I have to say that I have several lingering questions about the event. You remember it's called the red mass. Why is it called red? Can they pick another color? Red is the color of communism, obviously, and other associations abound. In this age of proclaimed sensitivity, is this how judges want to be associated with the color red? Really? Second point, the date of event is floating from year to year, but oddly enough, the night of November 9th is the Kristallnacht that took place in 1938 in Germany as a precursor to the Second World War. It was a pogrom done by SA paramilitary forces, kind of like Antifa today, which ended up in thousands of deaths. I won't say more here this time. Look it up. Kristallnacht. Third point, I don't understand why judges need to celebrate in the church. What happened to separation of church and state? If they want to congregate themselves, they should rent a hall. Why in the church? Why a church of a particular denomination? For example, an observant Jewish person is not permitted to go into a church. And there are many Jewish judges, ostensibly Jewish judges, who actually end up going, according to past years' reports. Fourth point, what is this whole mixing up between lawyers and judges? Aren't judges supposed to be independent? Is this all schmoozing appropriate? I did an analysis about 2 weeks ago. I posted it online. It was watched so far by over 2,100 people. Thank you very much. Thanks everybody. It wasn't an easy presentation. It wasn't a simple issue to tackle. So the analysis irrefutably showed that the majority of state-funded cases for some judges, included Janet McFarland and Alexander Bayon in Richmond County Family Court, end up with the same small group of attorneys. It is prima facie evidence of corruption. This gathering that we attended outside only corroborates the public impression that they all work together, judges and attorneys, against the public. Fifth point, where was the press? Every year the press was present there. The local newspaper, taking pictures, celebrating, even in the heat of the global pandemic, when they all were masked up. What happened this year? Our conclusion is that they were all called off. No press was present. Why? Because they didn't want us to get into the picture frame. This tells you all you need to know, whom the press is serving, the people or the government. That's fine. Nobody is coming to save us. It's only us. It's only us. We have the citizen journalists now. We have the platforms. We control the message. There are many cliches, but one that actually resonates with many is the truth is like a lion. You release it. It fights for itself. Or, using the language of the Psalms, Truth shall rise from the earth. We are oppressed by family courts. They know it, we know it, they know that we know it, and they still oppress us and our children. I tried it all. I cannot see my children normally despite full acquittal for over a year and a half, undoubtedly because I dare to stand up to these despots. I am gagged from submitting additional motions by Janet McFarland. There is zero argumentation given to any of it. Appellate division cuts and pastes the same paragraph all over and over again. Court of Appeals denied me 3 times in one line dismissals without any argumentation either. Federal courts deny cases for judicial immunity or sovereign immunity or domestic relations abstention doctrine. Countless doctrines that they use in order just not to see, not to hear what's going on in family courts. CJC, the Commission on Judicial Conduct, despite abundant proof of McFarland's illegal donations, continues to sit on the investigation for months. FBI did not respond to my complaints about all the dubious assignments. What recourse do we have? What recourse do we have? Their systems don't work. Only peaceful appeal to the court of public opinion using our First Amendment. Police was there, lighting up the street. People stopped by, asked questions. We had several thousand flyers about parental alienation. We gave them all out. Now, please let me conclude with the personal plea. On this Tuesday, November 15, at 9:30 a.m., I have to show up again in McFarland's courtroom. This is a physical hearing. She stopped with online hearings, and this is the government territory. It feels absolutely humiliating and intimidating. I posted pictures online as well. They have construction going on for years. It's all boarded. You can barely walk. So we serfs are forced to enter through an obscure passage, through the basement. How symbolic. Armed guards everywhere, with multiple guns at all times close to you. They wear full gear and protective vests. It's all deliberate. It's all a show. McFarland was at the event. She saw the signs, and she and her entourage were close. I think she's clearly unfit to be a judge. I said it directly many times. She's a corrupt tyrant who gives illegal donations and appoints her friends to lucrative AFC and 18B cases. She has numerous complaints against her by other victims for what she does inside the courtroom. I have nothing personal against her. I wish her only luck in all her personal endeavors, but she simply is not fit to be a judge. And based on her conduct so far, she's very likely to severely retaliate against me. She and her friends, who end up in tens of cases in front of her, as I showed in my analysis, again 2 weeks ago. It's all posted online. It's all in the court of public opinion. Attorneys Kaufman, Rita Kaufman and Ian Berliner, they can do whatever they want to me. I am completely at their mercy. The court doesn't feel as a place that serves the people at all, those who've been there. It feels like a place that is heavily protecting itself from the people. I don't know if they will play games with letting people in from other cases, based on me being a court watcher for other victims. They completely eviscerate Section 4 of the New York State Judiciary Law by letting very few people in, but it will mean a lot if you could come and support me. We need to demonstrate to these tyrants that we are not afraid. If I'm tortured there, please come and see your fellow human being being tortured in the courtroom. My only crime is fighting for the right of children, my children, everybody's children, to have a father, and for family court judges to follow the law, simply follow the law and the Constitution. November 15, 2022, 9:30, Richmond County and Richmond County Family Court. The address is 100 Richmond Terrace, Staten Island, New York. Please come. Remember the divine commandment. Don't be afraid. Those who are not afraid will see much blessing. Thank you.